Carmen, to you. According to Utah State Board of Education statistics, 40% of low-income children are currently failing and dropping out of public schools prior to graduation. If the current voucher law is rescinded, how will parents be able to make alternative choices for their children's education when money is an inhibiting issue and tax-funded government schools are their only choice?
Well, you know, we have other schools in our high schools and our middle schools and our elementaries. We also have our special schools. We've got Mill Creek Elementary, and those are for failing students to go to. And that school is doing a fabulous job. Fabulous is one of my fabulous words that I love. They are doing a fabulous job down here in southern Utah, and that is who they're taking. They're taking those failing students, and those students are succeeding. And, you know, that's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
Well, what's the reality here? Let's say that public schools, any shape or form, flat out aren't working for a child. If that child comes from a wealthy family, he has another option. He can go to private school. If he doesn't come from a wealthy family, tough.
Okay, Steve. Do the testing results of voucher students need to be reported to the State Department of Education?
They need to be reported to anyone who asks, so the answer is yes.
And the question that really should be asked on this, are they tested on reading, arithmetic, history? They're actually tested on whatever that private school wants to test them on.
Carmen, and to you. How can we enforce regulatory standards in private schools?
How could we enforce it? Well, I guess have it passed by the legislature, because I understand if this bill passes, there's going to be a lot of amendments to it to make it better, and if that happens, then that's one thing that they would have to do for a private school, is to make sure that they have that in there. Does that answer that question?
I believe so. Steve?
Okay.
Yeah, I went through this in my main thing. There already are several accountability factors that private schools need to answer to.
Okay, the next question, I guess it goes to you first, Steve. Is it true that the voucher law cannot be revisited or altered if it passes?
No, absolutely not. Let me take a moment on that, just on a completely different subject. Any law that is passed, whether it's by the legislature, by initiative, it's on the books, and so any and every law can be amended at any time. That's typically the work we do up there, is we take laws that are on the books and amend them a little to mesh with the reality of the world they're put up against.
And that's what's kind of scary too, because the reality is there's not going to be enough money if as many as they say is going to pull out and do the voucher system. So the question on the floor is, was that one of the things that they will amend, that they will go for more money and ask for more money, and then we will be held accountable, the public schools will be held at stake there? That's a good question, and I think they can be changed, and that's how come we don't want this voucher bill to get their foot in the door, because we can see all kinds of changes that could be made to this bill.
Ed, can we each have one optional follow-up?
And then another?
On the same question?
Yes.
Well, that's, now you're asking me the questions. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just say, you know, Carmen said that if a whole bunch of students switch, then it's going to be a problem. Which way is it? I mean, if a whole bunch of students switch, the math works out over 1%, it's raw savings. If a whole bunch switch, if that's what we're quote-unquote worried about, then we make major money for education.
Okay, we have raw savings, but in that raw savings, while we're saving, we're also costing more money. So I've got some charts up here that you're more than welcome to look at, but right here it says the first 5 years were crossed here. This is a good low savings, but notice the red line, that's what it's costing us. As we're saving this, it's still costing us this. We need to remember this.